The last general election proved once again that we need to change to proportional representation, and this is how we can get it in 2020. In May 2015, the pro-PR parties got nearly a third of the votes cast, but an electoral pact of the pro-PR parties plus Labour would have obtained 60% of the popular vote. But how can we create an alliance of parties that have widely differing ideologies and policies on the big issues? ProPR believes the mechanism for achieving such a pact is the pro-PR principle. It says that any party that forms a government from a first-past-the-post election but promotes proportional representation within its manifesto should accept that its own election was undemocratic. In response to the promises made to its own supporters, it must change the legislation and bring about the first PR election in Britain as soon as possible. Only then can any further government acts be deemed democratic. From this principle, we get the single policy manifesto of bring in PR and then immediately call a re-election. In order to form a pact, we are suggesting that the pro-PR parties temporarily adopt the single policy manifesto for a first-past-the-post general election in order to get a fair voting system. We need to get our electoral system right in order to get good legislation on all the other issues. Because our electoral system is flawed, we get irrational legislation that only serves a few and leaves the majority worse off and bewildered. So, with the pro-PR principle and the single policy manifesto of bring in PR and then call a re-election, the formation of a robust electoral pact is a real possibility. But how could we trust the pro-PR coalition to bring in PR once it was elected? No single party would be allocated more than 300 seats to fight for in the election to ensure that a single party majority is not obtained, and a coalition has to be created to govern. This will provide a guarantee to the electorate that the votes cast for the pact are only used to bring in PR and then have a re-election. We would not expect the Labour Party to announce that they would be willing to join such a pact until much closer to the next election. But come 2019, if polls show that Labour will be unable to overturn a Conservative majority, they will have two possible options. Option 1, Labour could ignore an invitation to join the pact and so let the Conservatives in for another term in government. Or option 2, Labour could decide to support a change to PR, join the pact, and almost certainly guarantee both an election victory for the pro-PR pact and the abolition of first-past-the-post. Once the pact becomes a reality, the Conservatives will almost certainly try to manoeuvre themselves out of a certain defeat at the general election. They are likely to do this by changing the legislation to PR themselves, and therefore claiming the political high ground before a proportional representation general election in May 2020. So, getting PR in 2020 is a realistic possibility, and pro-PR is already in discussions with political parties about forming a pact. Please get in touch if you would like to help promote the pro-PR electoral pact strategy.